This is Phil Westra out at my yard at Hidden Bridge Wildlife Refuge, and these are my Nucleus colonies. Levi and I are out here checking these for the first time in the spring. And as you probably know, a double nuke has 4 frames over 4 frames, and there's an exit on this side for colony 13. There's an exit on this side for colony 14. So I already took the lid off, and what we're doing is we're just seeing how they're doing through the winter, and then we're adding a half patty of a pollen substitute because they've been a little bit slow gathering pollen so far this spring. There's been a lot of cold and windy weather as the maples have been budded, so there's not as much pollen in here as I'd like to see. So I'm going to go ahead and open up 14 and just explain what we do this time of year. We open it up and we see there's a cluster. I would so far say that's about a small to medium size group of bees, but there might be a lot more down there. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can find a brood nest, see if we can find the queen, and just kind of assess how they're doing. If the population is good enough, we'll also do a mite check to see if there's Varroa mites in this colony right now. Usually in the spring, this time of year, the bees have eaten through their honey in the bottom and are consuming honey in the top. And since these colonies usually keep their warmth towards the middle, about 90% of the time you'll see the brood nest start to form in the top frame here and then move this way. So what I usually do is I take one of these 2 frames out to begin with, just to see if we have a brood nest starting, and usually the queen is there too. So as I'm pulling this out, I can see that I definitely have brood here. We've got some capped brood, we've got some larvae, and we've got some eggs right here. So it's exactly what we would hope to see this time of the year. But again, not as much pollen around that brood nest as I'd like to see. So look at both sides, just scanning to see if I can see the queen, looking for eggs, trying to assess the size of the brood nest. So far healthy, and you can see gentle. No one's trying to sting me. I could pet my bees if I want to. They're just pretty calm and chill. Set that to the side, and I'm going to check the next one in. Again, wonderful brood nest. Got a trace of a mite treatment there. Great, great population, really healthy looking brood on this side. And here I found my queen. You can zoom on here. What I'm going to note is that she's not marked. She should have a white marking from last year, because I marked my queens when I raised them. This is one of the queens that I raised last season, and as you can see, she's doing marvelous. So I know my queen is on this frame. That means I'm going to use the other frame to do a mite check. Put this in here, and we're going to go and I'll show you the mite assessment process. Essentially what you want is you want to get a half a cup of bees. This is about 300 bees. This is a little alcohol wash mite kit. And so what I do is I just tap this, shaking some bees into this tub. I kind of gather the bees in a corner, and I take a scoop and I put them in the alcohol wash. So that's approximately 300 bees. And what we do is we put the lid on, and I note that I got this one from Nucleus 14. So I write in 14 on the lid, And we could do a batch of these. We'll just keep doing mite checks, and it's just nice to have that on the lid. We could let that set, and we could go on and check the rest of our colonies. What you need to do with this is you need to kind of shake it around, swirl. What the alcohol does is it knocks the mites off of the bees, and you can get a sense of how many mites are on bees. So you just, how many mites you have, divide that by about 300, and that's going to be your infestation percentage. And right now I have 0 mites, which is wonderful. That means that colony is keeping their Varroa mites at bay. We're going to put this frame back in. This colony has at least 2 solid frames of brood. We have a queen. We're going to note that we need to mark her a little bit later. I mark my queens so they're easy to find. I'm just getting some burr comb out of there. And I'm going to put my pollen patty right here. Scrape a little propolis off the inner cover lid. And we're done. Checking colony 14.